Hi everyone, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. My name is Elisa and I'm a professional makeup artist. Today I'm going to be showing you this makeup look that I really do think suits everyone. So try it for yourself and see if it works out for you. I always start off with the eyebrows. Right now I am gelling her eyebrows downwards, sideways, and then upwards. That way I got the entire eyebrow coated. I will be giving her a fluffy effect. I just think that the fluffy brows look more natural. Natural is the key here. Throughout this entire video, we're just going to be enhancing our natural features, which is why it is so suitable for everyone. I did forget to record this part, but basically all I did was just follow the natural shape of her brow with a brow pencil. When you fill in the brows, you don't want any sharp lines, just keep it fluffy. Okay, so I did have to freeze this just because I kept going. Basically what I did on the eyes, on the base, I put brown bronzer on her eyelids, the same bronzer I will use for her face. And then I just coated it on top with a brown eyeshadow. Here I mixed a gold and orangey gold shimmer and I'm just putting it in the center of her eyelid. This is where I add the gold shimmer. What this is going to do is it's going to give a subtle halo eye effect. So far your eyes should look something like this. Next, I'm taking a darker brown and just highlighting the edges of her eyes just to make it pop out a little bit more, but we're doing it very subtle because, like I said, we want this entire look to look natural. We are just enhancing the features here, people. As you can see, I keep blending it out because I want it to look as diffused as possible. Don't worry if it's messy because we are going to clean up in the end. I go in for a second coat and this time I'm mainly focusing it on the edge. Basically, this is going to give me a subtle cat eye. I go in now for a second coat and this time I'm really giving her a smoked out cat eye, but as you can see I'm dragging it on the sides, kind of elongating her eyes. A really good tip to get this right is to look up and then follow the bottom of your eye, the bottom of your eye line, and then just extend it. Okay, you can't tell here, but I took a dark brown shimmer and an orangey shimmer and I just put it there on the creases of her eyes. This step is very important. Basically what we're doing is we're just following the line that we created, the smoky line, but this time we're making it sharper. However, we are going to follow our natural lash line and we're not going to go above that. This is the finished top eyeshadow look. I cleaned up the eyes. I followed the cat eye that we did with a wipe under the eye, and then I put very natural false lashes on her. As you can see, they're not too long. They just make the lashes look fuller and a little bit more lifted. After I hope you have done your skincare, now you're going to go ahead and correct any areas that need to be corrected. Here, I'm just correcting her under eyes with a little bit of a peachy tone and a pink tone. Here, I have grabbed a slightly darker foundation for my model because I wanted her to look more bronzy and just a little bit more tanned. If you're gonna go for the darker foundation, please make sure you get the right undertone and don't go too dark, just like a 0.5 shade darker. My beauty blender was a little bit too big, so I got my brush to get into smaller areas and then I blended it out with the beauty blender. Here I used the Hourglass concealer and I created an upside down triangle on her under eye. I do a lot of tapping motions because it blends at the same time. So I'm going in the mustache area because I feel most people have dark spots on that area. And then I also take it to her chin and then her forehead. Here's where I start the bronzing process. I use a more warm tone bronzer, and I start it on her forehead. You don't want to go too dark with the bronzer. You want to do it like one shade more than her foundation. And I'm literally just following the shadows of her face and letting the brush find her face shape. Basically, I'm just tapping the brush, and wherever it lands, I just feel like that's the best way to follow your natural face shape. I did use a more fluffy brush because I feel like it gives a more airbrushed application. By the way, this is a cream bronzer, so I'm just tapping her face because you really do blend as you go when you tap, and you keep the products in the same place. With whatever foundation is left on my beauty blender, I just go and tap out the harsh lines and just blend out the entire face to make it look seamless. For blush, I'm using Rare Beauty Liquid Blush in the shade Hope. I really do love this shade of pink, especially for bronzy looks because it doesn't have that baby doll undertone. I'm tapping on just a little bit to her face because we will go with a powder on top of that, a powder blush. However, as you can see, I'm going on the apples of the cheeks, but go a little bit higher than where your apples are because it will give you a more lifted look. I do apply the blush on the forehead and on the chin to make it look more cohesive. This step right here is very important if you want to avoid creasing. You have to look up, blend out the crease, and then set lightly with a translucent powder. The translucent powder that I am using here is the one by Laura Mercier. Here I will bake the chin area and a little bit of the cheekbone just because we do get very oily there, so I wanted it a little bit more mattified around that area. Here we are taking more translucent powder. We are sort of baking, but in a very subtle way. We don't want too much baking. This is not the look we're going for. My client did mention to me that she has dry skin, so I keep adding a fix on her face just to rehydrate her skin after all that powder, and also to blend in the makeup a lot better. Now that we have powdered, we are going on top of the blush and the bronzer with a powder bronzer and a powder blush. Do not get any bronzer shades that are too dark for you. It is not going to be flattering and it's not going to blend in properly. Putting powder bronzer and powder blush on top of the creams makes sure that the makeup lasts longer. It is basically setting the products in place while reinforcing more color. Here I am spraying again, just making sure her face is hydrated, that we get some glow back after all that powder, but also making sure her makeup stays on all day. We are starting off with the under eye eyeshadow. Make sure you have dusted off the excess eyeshadow first before you go into the under eye, and then you're just literally going to follow the shape of the waterline. And you're going to use the first shade we used, which is the light brown shade, the transition shade. And then you're going to see, I'm going to use the same exact colors I used on the top, on the bottom, but I'm going to go from light to dark. And I'm really just going to make it more of a thin application. So really follow that waterline, basically. But don't go on the waterline. Taking this flat brush, I really went in between the lashes to blend everything in. Do not skip this step. It makes the biggest difference and it looks so beautiful. Look at that. Now you're going to take a Q-tip and dry your waterline so that your eyeliner doesn't run. You can't really see it, sorry, I'm the worst, but I am putting a chocolate brown eyeliner on her eyes, on her waterline. The one that I used is the one from Kaja. I think that's right. To finish it off, you're going to use a little bit of waterproof mascara on the bottom lashes. You don't have to use too much, just a little bit. Unfortunately, I did not record the lip process. I am so sorry, but I will tell you what I used and what my process was. I slightly overlined the Cupid's bow and the bottom of her lip and then just connected the lines. I used a natural brown lip liner. I think the one I used was Nude Truffle from NYX. And then I just played around with colors, but that was the main color I used. Here I have applied a slightly lighter lipstick on her lip, and I'm doing it with a brush to buff it in and make it look more natural and blend it in and seamless. A nice lipstick shade to use for this part can be the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lipsticks. They come in 3 different skin tone shades and they would be perfect for this look. Then I blend after that to make sure everything is blended in and seamless. And the final step is Body Glow. I used the Patrick Ta All Over Face and Body Glow. I did put the same foundation I used on her face on her body first, and then I put on that Patrick Ta Body Glow. I also incorporated on her cheekbones, her chin, and the temples of her forehead. The reason I also put it on the face is because I just want everything to be cohesive. I want it all to make sense. And those areas on their face are the ones that stand out the most. They are the highest points of the face. To top off this entire look, you gotta do the hair too, so make sure you have a really nice hairstyle paired with this beautiful makeup look. I decided to finish the look off with lip gloss. I just thought that it just tightened the look a lot better. I'm using a drugstore nude lip gloss. It's like a light nude. Any drugstore product can work. And here's the final look. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you learned something. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Me and Leila did do a transition for this look, so stay tuned till the end to see the transition.